Welcome to the podcast, ladies and gents. It's good to be back with the industry brief. We are going to talk today about layoffs. We want to talk about the future of the game industry. Probably is going indie because of these layoffs, because of the shift in what's going on. I'm excited to talk with you, Spencer. What you got for me?
Yeah, so I don't know how many of you all are, keep your tabs on the stock market, but we're in kind of a weird time with the AI, right? So Nvidia's earnings, they were like what, $53 billion that quarter. Their GDP, or sorry,
Which
their
is wild.
dude, seriously, right? So their market cap is almost, it either is or it's almost as large or larger than Germany's GDP.
Which is
Germany,
one of the biggest economies in the
right?
world.
Yeah, like especially in Europe. Like, I mean, they're one of the manufacturing hubs of the European continent. So, anyways, everyone's like, "Oh, sweet, good report." Okay, there was a lot of kind of trepidation in the market before that stuff was going down. The report came out this morning. Stuff kind of bumped up. And the first like hour or two of the day, it went up about 5%, and then it fell down to negative 5% from open. So you had like a 10-point swing in one day. And why is this happening? This is because people are trying to figure out what the heck's going on with AI, right? Like, and AI is this weird solution with all new technologies. You have some level of creative destruction, right? Where you get you destroy some jobs and you create new ones, and you increase the productivity from the jobs that were destroyed. You can now do more with less, right? So it's like, you only need one farmer to farm with a tractor and a combine than what you would have needed 100, right?
Yeah, versus 10 or 100. Yeah,
Exactly.
and
So
every time there's a shift, and this is
mhm.
all these, right? Industrial revolution, internet revolution. I mean, there's been so many along the
Exactly,
path.
yeah, and little ones along the way, right? So it's interesting because like AI could be like a very, very widespread because of its versatility. It could be who's going to be on the chopping block, who's going to be the farmer with the introduction of the combine, who's going to be the
Yeah.
or the coach driver with the introduction of the car, so I was talking to my friend who works in machine learning on this, and we were trying to identify like where is it going to go first, and we kind of ended up at like where AI kind of tends to do the best is coding.
Well, surprisingly, and that was what was interesting about that. Like, I remember listening to, and I'm blanking his name, but he was the Google futurist. When I was at Google, there was a guy's job whose entire job was to be the futurist, which is just think about the future. And what he had pitched was that,
That's kind of a cool.
I know, isn't that a fun job?
It's
And
a fun job
let
title.
me see real quick. It was Google futurist. Um, so Ray Kurzweil. So Ray, he spoke when I was there, and he basically gave this breakdown. So this is over a decade ago, and he said the first jobs they're going to be taken, and they were physical, repetitive, factory.
Okay.
Right. Next jobs were cognitive, repetitive. Right. Think like accounting softwares.
Accounting, yeah.
All these softwares that are
Spreadsheets,
all
yeah.
these SaaS, software as a services, right? Things that were these repeatable processes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said the next one was physical, non-repetitive. And then he said cognitive, non-repetitive. So physical, repetitive,
Mm-hmm.
cognitive, repetitive, then physical, non-repetitive, and then cognitive, non-repetitive. Like that was his prediction.
Yeah.
He messed that up a little bit. And so that has flipped. It has been the cognitive, non-repetitive. Those jobs are being taken in droves.
Uh-huh.
Even more interestingly, the creative jobs, which I never thought, art,
It's
writing, human.
totally, dude. I listened to an AI cover of like a 50 Cent song, but it was like in a Motown 1950s blues. dude, it was the absolute banger. Like, it was so good. And it blew my mind that it was so good, you know? Like, I didn't understand, like, why it was almost like
It scratched that itch.
it did,
It's
dude. And the thing is, like, people are like, "Oh, you're listening to AI music," and it's like, well, no, I mean, 50 Cent still, like, wrote the lyrics. Like a human wrote these
mhm.
lyrics. So, like, the emotion, you know, I also listened to a version where they did that, made a like a blues style with a what was that song? Mr. Brightside.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so it's still the song that I know, but it's just reimagined in this different style. And I was like, wow, I could totally see a world where humans create the original material because it
Mhm.
provides the emotion, the soul, the meaning,
It's
and
the
then
uniqueness, it's the creativity,
it's the
right? It's
creativity, right?
what didn't pre-exist,
Uh
right?
huh. And then you have an AI that lets you totally customize your playlist and say, you know what, today I want to listen to, Coldplay, but I want it in a jazz style.
The thing is, and I keep hearing this pitched, and I keep from video games to movies to music, where it's like I don't think you maybe you're hearing about this in movies, where the idea is they'd get actors, they'd create some kind of movie, and then you could write your prompt for what kind of movie you want to watch, and it would then generate, right? And so, and I get the point, right? And I see the value, but like that's effort. Partly why I play video game, reason why I watch a movie, the reason why I listen to music is to
Hmm.
almost enjoy somebody else's creation. So that's number one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number two, I don't feel like I've really created something when I use AI. I don't feel proud of it. Um, now
Yeah. I see that. Yeah. It's a lesser feeling of accomplishment.
I if I painted a crappy piece of art, but it actually looked kind of good, like you know what I mean. I'm not a good
Mm,
artist, but I would be more proud of that than the beautiful art I can create with AI. Like this great example, this lighthouse that was painted by my mother-in-law.
mm-hmm.
It is beautiful, and I love lighthouses. It has meaning to me, so that's why I have that up, right? Like that has meaning. Where if AI made this, there's no way I would have hung it. And
Right.
so I think so to kind of circle back, like the point of this conversation, what we're talking about is AI is getting rid of these jobs,
Hmm.
and and again, like I would say this is relevant to me. I just got laid off today myself, so this is nice and relevant. But yep, feeling good. So many people
Tough
are
day.
getting
Tough
laid
day.
off
Yeah.
because there's this belief, not it's not true. It may be true, but there's a belief that AI can do these jobs and do them well.
Hmm.
And that's why I think I was looking at 40,000 jobs in video games in the past 3-4 years have been
Let go.
let go.
Yeah.
40,000 people. I mean, that's an enormous number.
Totally. And like the bottom line is that there might be an overfiring, but because it will take time for new technologies like AI to fully integrate effectively into workflows, right? I mean, like the internet changed the way the human species interacts, but it also took like, you know, I would say probably close to a decade to really kind of sink its roots in and change how
I
that
think
worked.
a decade to sink its roots and then a decade to mature, right? You see, think about almost 1995 to 2005,
Hmm.
people really start using the internet by 2005,
All
right? It
right.
becomes a prominent part. And then by 2015, I think you have Instagram. I feel like I view, for some reason, that year to me as the maturity of
Like
the
the
internet.
advent of like social media.
Advent of social media, things start getting monetized, things start
Hmm.
becoming centralized, Amazon, all these big, so many companies get bought up or
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying. It's like we come out of the trough of disillusionment and we
mhm,
hit that plateau of productivity where the you do there's this thing in physics called Oswald ripening. You see it when you have bubbles on a surface
mm,
where the bigger ones will get bigger at the expense of the smaller ones, and
wonderful. Yeah,
and
exactly that.
it will just pop 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 pop, and then eventually you have the stable. kind of the weakest ones have been consumed, or they popped, and then now you have the big, large, stable ones. And that happens with companies too, right? I mean, it's like in
Exactly.
any new field, you're going to have a sort of an expansive growth. A lot of companies pop up, and then a collapse, and then only the ones that really did it right, that maybe had good operations, or that they cracked the monetization better, whatever made them unique, better leadership. Um,
All those different variables, right?
yeah,
Like,
they live through it, right? You see this with the video game industry in the 1980s, kind of
mm,
expanded, and then in the 90s, and you had all these game companies, and then it kind of settled down into the big three.
that's that's true. And there was a lot of consolidation, and then some new studios start ramping up in the 2000s, and then again, there's it continues to have this growth to consolidation phases.
Mhm.
And right now, there's so many games. There's so many games being made,
Right.
and partly because of the accessibility, right? You would say, and you can make that argument at any point, right? It was more accessible to make video games in the 2000s than it was in the 80s, right? Like you had to
Mhm.
literally sell physical and like imprint your
Yeah.
game on these
Yeah. Yeah.
these expensive
Mhm.
floppy disks. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, there's
make
like a hardware aspect to it
there
that
was
was.
it was so expensive, and I don't think the floppy disk, but like the cartridges. That was the word I'm
Yeah, the
looking for.
cartridges, yeah.
It was so expensive to to put your games on this. And so it's like the accessibility of making it, and that's the whole point. Like software is becoming commoditized. Video games is becoming like the ability to make software, the ability to make video games is becoming commoditized, which just
Yes.
means anybody can do it.
I
Which to me, I that's
I
the
think
other
that's a good thing.
it's a good thing. It's a good thing. But if you had to understand, like the industry of video games is so unique where like movies, I'm rarely am I watching an indie movie. They have to partner with somebody. Netflix, Amazon, like how else am I getting access to this? But somehow
Let
I
me
play a
push.
lot of more indie games. Maybe
Well, maybe so. Okay, so the some of the indie games you play are rarely on the scale of, say, a Skyrim,
oh, for
or
sure.
right. But they're a lot more. They're fun, but they're packaged in a more kind of tighter, compact, more streamlined, because they don't have the resources of a AAA agency, right?
Totally, but the success potential is even, and that's more what I'm saying. Like Lethal Company,
Yeah,
he m I think he made that game made a couple $100 million.
it's bonkers. Good for
Like,
you, man.
but I
But
know, yeah. Like Pal World. I mean, I met with Bucky, one of their main people. Like there was 9 of them. That game made $700 million, and it's
holy
just
smokes.
like last year, and it's just been growing, right? Like they've been building this IP.
So, but let me point this out. So, like, you said, like, with movies, you still have the partner. Okay, I would say that YouTube commoditized that, because
That's a good point.
I will watch a short film on YouTube, and it's the functional equivalent of a more compact indie game than a full fledged 2.5 hour feature film.
That's a good point because I think I was equating it the same because they're not on the same platforms. Because like on Steam, both games
It's true. They're all on the same platform.
they're on the same platform. So I think I'm comparing apples to apples there. Where that's a great point. Where YouTube is the open
Mhm.
market place to post your content, and I mean I'm a great example. I make
Yeah,
not much,
like
but I
we're on
make some
YouTube
money.
right now, right? I mean, this is a functionally equivalent. What we're doing right now would be a talk show radio, or like a
Hmm.
news broadcast, but it's obtainable to the people. Like anybody can do this, right? Um,
That's true.
so
It's become commoditized, right? The
it's become
ability
commoditized, right?
to create yeah media. It has
And
become commoditized.
so here's what I see is what's happening with AI. The developers are getting laid off. Okay,
Yep.
let me kind of lay out my thesis here. So we have AIs coming in. We're getting people that are getting laid off. So there's reduction in workforce size because they expect more productivity from fewer people.
Yep.
Okay. Two, there are games like Expedition 33, and other, like you mentioned, Lethal Company games that have made so much money, have been very successful. And I actually like Expedition 33 in particular because it feels like a AAA polished game.
It in 100%. That is,
It
it
is.
feels one of my favorite games of the past decade.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, like from the voice acting to the motion capture, like they're getting like a Hollywood actor. Yeah, he doesn't remember that he didn't remember that he did it because it was so short to him, Charlie Cox. But they had real work, like it feels polished. So they um they won like 12 or they got
Yeah.
nominated 12 times, broke a record for the game awards, right?
They better win. I hate
Uh,
to say it, but I'm like, come on.
they
They
do. They have to. I mean, this is going to be many young kids like Final Fantasy 7. It's
totally.
like that's
This is the modern Final Fantasy 7. It's the amount of people are gonna start getting back into,
turn based.
turn-based games because of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, 100%, man. And so uh but they did this with a team of 33 people and some contractors, right?
Yeah, a lot of people like to point that out, but
Yep.
yes, there's contractors on top of
There's
the.
contractors, yeah, but they their main studio is rather small. And so my point with this being is that I think big publishers are seeing that you can be successful, or kind of publishers in general are seeing that you can be successful with smaller studios.
For sure.
And then AI is enabling more productivity per person
In theory,
than in
it
theory,
is.
right? Especially when it comes to coding. The people that have reported to me that the biggest productivity games are all coders.
The only
S-
productivity I see is inspirational, like, content. If you were to say inspirational art, like, you can get to ideation a lot faster. That there
Mhm.
So I would say if you're creating art, you could be able to say, "I'm thinking about something like this." And so
Yeah.
you can get ideation, I think you can get to the drawing board
Yeah.
and get past the drawing board a lot
Right,
faster.
right, right. Whatever that painful place is to like get started.
Mhm.
Like the true artists are gonna know what's crap and what's good. And they're not gonna
Yes.
use, like, I think when people hear the use of AI in video games, they're just, they're because
Well, Call of
they're
Duty doesn't help with all the crap that they just threw in their campaign, but
yeah, yeah, right. But they're thinking like the same way that, like, if you plug something into Sora, it just pumps out an AI generated video, like from start to finish.
yeah.
I don't think that's really gonna take off in any capacity for decades, if ever, right? I think that what you're gonna have is you're gonna have the human being capable of knowing what it wants, what we want. Like just the other day, I was filtering out some data into a spreadsheet, and it wasn't like very clean. And I was like, man, this is gonna take me hours to do manually. And
Mhm.
I created a template, and I told this AI, I said, hey, follow this template, and it did that for me. That's a real productivity gain right there,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. That
And so
kinda stuff, so nice.
100%. And so, like, you just think about what really creative people will be able to do when you remove the monotony from their work.
That's I think you've heard me say before, but the best AI tools should amplify the human experience, not
Mhm.
detract, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna that should be the future, right? The best tools should make it so that I get to do more human things, talking to people, actually doing the creative pieces, not a lot of the monotony, filling out the spreadsheet,
Mhm.
or it removes some of those frictions of moving through some of
Mhm.
these tasks. So I see the value. I guess though the question I have is, why is everyone, like, they had this huge hiring spree, and so this is my thought process. 2020 hits,
Uh-huh.
games are selling out like crazy. Hire tons of people. There's like this pandemic hiring growth. There's all these acquisitions. There's
Yeah.
so much that was happening in
Massive
gaming.
demand.
Massive demand. And then
Mhm.
so they hired a ton of people. And then I felt this personally. I remember in 2023, my company was blowing up. I was doing really well. I had people wanting to throw money at my company when I was to go raise money. It was just like there was so much excess capital.
Oh yeah, dude.
And
Oh,
not just in video games, just in tech in general.
oh
Like
yeah,
people
yeah.
people did like pre AI and pre kind of end of pandemic. There was this weird time where there was just so much investment floating around.
Well, I mean, the interest rates have been held at rock bottom, and then with the pandemic, they were literally pushed down to zero.
Right. And so
And
yes,
there's just
interest
like
rates.
it's a free money faucet, dude. It's like
And I remember in 2023, all of a sudden these people are like wanting to invest in my company, all this stuff. It just started going away. And that same thing applies to people start getting laid off. And the economy starts changing. People don't want to call it a recession, but we have been in this weird recession that we don't want to call a recession. I
yeah.
don't know, for a few years. And gaming specifically got hit, I feel like one of the hardest because it was at this cross section of big boom, lots of hires,
Mhm.
less of a demand, and then on top of this less of demand, AI
And
gets introduced.
a new tool that can replace, workers or make workers more productive,
100%.
right?
So it's like
Yeah,
big,
yeah. That's like a triple whammy right there.
just boom, boom, boom. Because I know
Yeah.
there's so many people, I see it on LinkedIn. I see so many people are getting laid off across tech, right? And gaming, I feel like gaming is getting hit some of the hardest just because going back to what you're saying, I think that, and that to me is the third piece. Indie games can be just as successful as a
Mhm.
triple A game. And that was
It's
more,
yes, especially now.
especially now. And I find that to be just wild, right? Like
Right.
it's awesome, but I don't think people comprehend how crazy that is.
Mhm.
That you can make a game on your own. Now it's rare, but you can build a game and make a quarter billion, half a billion, almost $1 billion as a small team. Like that's
That's wild.
I feel like people these numbers get thrown around on the news so much, like we don't actually understand how crazy that is.
Mhm.
And and so because Call of Duty, like I'll see $1 billion, a couple billion. It's like the amount of money that went into that. People aren't factoring in. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars to
Right,
make
yeah,
that
they
game.
they have, like,
And then
3 studios, like,
and then
working on it.
millions, hundreds of millions of marketing. And then you get a Power World. Dude, their marketing budget had to been, it's infinitesimal. Like it's nothing compared to these games. Like so my point in saying all this, I think there's going to be something that happens is that there's going to be more studios. There's got a lot of people that have video game expertise and talent and have no job. Like what happens next? Like either they go into
Yeah.
other industries, which will totally happen. So many
Yep.
will probably go into software,
Mhm.
but there's going to be a chunk of those that will start companies. And this,
Yeah.
but the question though then is, will they find success? Because there's a lot of the old talents, the old Blizzard, Mike Morhaime, a lot of these guys, they've started their studios. And like Stormgate, a game I was really excited about, like it's failing.
It's a hard market to succeed, and by no means are you guaranteed success in starting a studio. I agree with you. I think that's like you're gonna have a certain percentage of the force be reduced. It's inevitable, it's gonna happen. Um, and maybe it expands back a little bit into like the big companies, but then so you have this chunk of video game developers um, it- that you'll have a certain percentage of that leave the industry
Mhm.
and get different jobs, like you did in 2008. The whole housing market collapsed, and then you had all of the housing developers and
They
the
win.
construction workers. Yeah, they went and became policemen. You have to put food on the table, right? So they
Mm.
go and get different jobs, right? So you have a certain percentage that do that, but you'll have a certain percentage that stays and that forms these indie studios. And what I'm excited for is with the event of like what we talked about last week with Steam Machine, uh, Game Pass, XCloud, gaming is really accessible
Yeah.
and it's commoditized. Like you said, you don't need to do the cartridges. So you can have a small team put something out on Steam, which is a very painless process compared to other.
Very painless and
And
cheap.
yep, and now you can get PC and with the Steam Machine console market share. And so, but the same tool that forced those layoffs, those teams can now use it to make their team of 10 or 20, function like a team of 50 or 100.
For sure. And I agree with all of that. I think the hardest part though with video games, and this is the difference to software. Software is there a problem in the market? Meaning, is
Hmm.
there like actual some kind of friction, and you solve that problem, and then you get paid to solve that problem, and it just like it's to me, it's pretty straightforward. Video games has that, but in a creative space. Like, what is the problem, right? What is the desired need of gamers? Like, that is so much more ethereal. And so to me, video games will continue to be one of the hardest places to succeed purely because it's catching lightning in a bottle, right? Like, how do you have to like Expedition 33 to me was lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And I like to I did a video on it and I almost preached like he knew what he was doing. And I do. Like in some ways he did, but like he was successful because just everything just kind of fell into line. Yes, he picked a genre that was not touched for a long time.
Right.
Right? Like on top of that, he took that genre, the gameplay. So number one, genre, demand, lack of supply. Number two, he took that genre gameplay loop, which hasn't really been touched or changed
Yeah.
much, and evolved it. So like number two, so like
Hmm.
he took the gameplay and evolved it. And then number three, he built a world and a story that was emotional, that was touching. And so like I think we talked about this, but like demand, lack of supply and demand. He elevated the gameplay. He didn't just do what other people had done. He elevated it, and then just the
Hmm.
world. So it's just like I would say there is a formula to video game success, and it's kind of what I just said. But that's really hard. You have to build
Yeah.
better each time. And so if you pick a genre, like that's what I've been learning. If you pick a genre, you got to now build. You can't build equal to what they've built. Like that is a misconception. People are like, "Oh, if I just build it just like this, players will come." It's like, "No.
Hmm.
Like you have to elevate it." And so to
Hmm.
me, that's where I almost see this circling back. Like what's funny is you were saying it's like I think we're going to do smaller teams. I think we're going to get just like Bungie started out with I think 40, 41, 44 people,
Yeah.
and then they keep having to increase. So I think we're going to get a bunch of decentralized indie teams, right? A bunch of teams that are going to launch from this. They're going to make games that are going to be successful. Some are going to grow. And use the example. What I forgot what you called it. The bubbles.
Oh, the Oswald ripening.
Oswald ripening. I see the exact same things about to happen. We're going to have a bunch of new studios are going to launch. Some, only a handful are going to be successful. And then in that handful, there's going to be some new players that are going to rise up and absorb some other players. Like
Hmm.
that's what I predict. Like I think that's what we're going to happen. But we're
Yeah.
seeing the beginnings of that right now.
But the thing is that just like with YouTube, like maybe YouTube is kind of like where it is a competitive space,
Mm-hmm.
right? You would know. Um,
Very competitive.
right? It's a competitive space, and so when somebody says, "Well, I want to be a YouTuber," I'm like, "Okay, look, this is nowhere near as easy as it was in the early 2000s or the 2010s, right?"
At least
You know,
to get going. It may not have to pay, but it was just
hmm
a lot less saturated.
yeah, it was a lot less saturated. You could kind of do what you wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but even so, many people try, and the cream of the crop floats to the top.
100%.
And so, like, there are still people that in even in today's YouTube can grow that just make good stuff and get noticed, and the algorithm kind of picks up and notices people like it, right? And I see that happening with the video game industry. I think that we will forever have a churn because now the barriers to entry are so much lower. Like like with AI, and these AI tools are going to evolve and expand. Just imagine in 5 years the AI tools that will be included in Unreal Engine.
Right.
It,
Right.
it's going to make like the quality game that you can make just because you're like I don't have years of experience manipulating this software tool. I can now communicate with this software tool in a natural language setting, and it knows what I'm trying to do, and it can use the tool, right?
And I agree
And
with that, but I guess the issue is if everyone now has pretty even playing field, the tool though is still limited in its capacity, right? So, and I say that you're going to just start having tons of games that feel and look the same.
it could. It could, yes. If you're kind of like relying on the AI to do the heavy lifting,
But
right?
and I think what's going to separate those are the people that don't rely on AI to do the heavy lifting. Because how do you
I agree.
differentiate?
Well, if you're relying on the AI to do your creative work, it's gonna feel dead.
Oh,
I mean, it will. It's going to. But I can write a paper. And so I'm writing a review paper right now for my PhD. So I mean, I've had to read, you know, I think my initial list was like 300, scientific articles. It's it's a mind-boggling amount of information to try to consume and synthesize. Um, and I was able to surmise what I needed to get out of these certain subset of papers. I identified the subset. I identified what I need out of here, and then it was just laborious to go through it. So I used an AI tool that helped me. I said, look, I need you to find these numbers. I need you to find these temperatures. I need you to find these pressures. I need you to find these gases that were used. And I need you to put them into a table. I still have to check it because I can't just like,
you can't just rely. Yeah.
can't rely on it. But it it accelerated what I was able to do, right? And that's how I see it happening in this for indie developers, right? Is that now a team like Realm Break, like your studio that you worked on, like you guys were like a gameplay guy, a music dude, a coding guy, but you guys kind of lacked in the art direction a little bit, right? You didn't have somebody that represented that wing, right?
Yeah, we didn't. And so we kept contracting out. We used so many people and we started using AI not for the game, but as a way to say, look, this is what we're looking for. Take it
Hmm.
like we were using Midjourney to then tell the modeler what we're looking for. The
Yes,
and
yes,
that's worked. And by the way, that has worked, but it's still and that's I think the reason why it was clunky is due to other reasons. So I don't think it goes against your argument. So I agree
right,
with the points.
yeah,
Um, I think that let's use Realm Break as an example though. The problem is it is more accessible. It is still if Fallen Worlds was to be successful, the game we've worked on for years, and it's kind of like I feel like we're half in, half out. I don't know. But the reason why it's not working is because our competition is just leaps and bounds
ahead of you.
ahead, right? For us to make a game that's in theory better than
Hmm.
something like Diablo or whatever it is, it's just we have to get money, right? Like to elevate the game. Expedition 33, I use them as a great example. They could not make that game to what it is if they
Without
had
money,
without that money, right?
no,
If you look at the prototype, people would look at that prototype and go, "Oh wow, dude, nobody would have played that, or at least very small amount."
no. But
It
Kepler recognized what it could be.
Kepler, and so that's the other thing that I'm like. All this being said, this goes back to less money is needed to
Yes,
make a great game.
yes.
And this is why I think people are being laid off. But on top of that, I feel like there's such an opportunity here. If investors, I mean, $500,000, $100,000, I think in some games could make back your money plus some, right? Like
Hmm.
I'm like there's right here. There's so many games being published. I feel like there's a space here that there's this middle ground that those double A games, high quality indie games. I feel like they're few and far in between. I don't know. Does that like I'm like trying to
So
explain
like,
this
yeah,
thought.
trying to wrap your head around it.
It just feels like the answer. Everything to me is cyclical, right? Right now, it's like I feel like things are falling apart. So we're gonna get a bunch of new young studios. Some of those new young studios are gonna raise money like
Mhm.
Sandfall
Mhm.
and Power World, which they're what was
Oh,
their Pocket Pair, Pocket
pocket.
Pair.
Okay, yeah.
Like they're now Pocket Pair. Bucky's told me they're investing. They have now a publisher arm. They're helping publish other people's games.
Wow,
Do you
dang.
see what, like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You win the lottery like that, I suppose. Like, I mean, it's
yeah,
not win the lottery. I mean, they put in the work for it, and they said, "Hey, there's a hole here."
they put in the work. Now they happen to just sometimes it's just it hits and it goes
Yeah. I mean, my
nuclear.
person, a little, I suppose, it's like a sidebar, but like, I, I think Power World succeeded because they were willing to tread on Nintendo's uh, dibs. You know,
Yeah,
they
where
didn't
nobody
really.
had touched for 25 years.
Yeah, because everybody knows Nintendo's a bulldog, and they'll come
Mhm.
after you, right? And so it's like, well, they're like, hey, Nintendo won't make the game that everybody wants for Pokemon, so we'll make it. But everyone, I mean, you're kicking the hornet's nest, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I bet you it was the least surprising thing in the world when they got sued, right? But I think they did it right, and they believed in their model and the legality of it, and it's paid off
Well,
for the most part.
even if they had been sued, they still would have been successful. I mean, it's one of those things where
They did get sued.
I'm saying if they lost the lawsuit,
Oh yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Even if they lost the lawsuit, like lawsuits, rarely do I see lawsuits. And there's give and take in this statement, but like now, let's say they take down Power, whatever it is, they have now gotten notoriety. And not to mention the next game they come out with, people are going to support it purely out of
Mhm.
spite, right? Like, so there
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
like, there's something to be said about taking that, making that choice. But like, all this again, this all circles back to, I guess, the point of the conversation is, why is there layoffs? Why is this happening? What's the positives? What's the negatives? To
Mhm.
me, I think we understand pretty clearly why there's layoffs, and I think they're going
Yeah.
to keep happening.
Mhm.
I think over the next 5 years, we're going to see a lot more Sandfall interactives. I think,
I yes, 100% agree. I think I think that the silver lining of this is, and it's maybe as poor consolation prize to those who have lost their jobs. It's a
I
hard
know,
feeling.
I feel it right now, dude.
Yeah,
I literally what time? I got laid off less than 12 hours ago.
yeah. it's, it's hard, dude. Super hard. And it's tough because you have immediate needs, right? I mean, it's just like you got families to take care of, you got
And I
stuff,
empathize with those people because it's
right?
like Hi-Fi Rush, they killed it, and they still got
Mhm.
laid off. It's like, and that's again, it felt like with my own job that the reason why I got laid off, they didn't have the money.
Yeah.
It's like
Mhm.
it's how it goes.
Well, and so this is the thing that could be the I guess the minor consolation prize is that this is maybe an opportunity for some of you creative developers out there that didn't have a chance to just spread your wings inside the kind of gargantuan bureaucracy of large publishers.
Mhm.
And that's a real thing, dude. Like these organizations are just stuffed with administrative bloat. Like Guillermo, was it Guillermo? Is that his name?
Yeah,
Yeah, Guillermo. Like he recognized that he didn't pitch this to Ubisoft because he knew they would never make it.
for sure, for
Like
sure.
he's like it's not gonna fly in this world.
The hard part is though, let me just speak to those people that got laid off, and this comes from an entrepreneur, by the way. I have been doing my own businesses. This happened today, and I am like, I have started businesses. I mean, I'm running this, but like, it is scary. Like, I have an idea for something that I potentially want to start, but there's a risk and there's
Yeah.
effort, right? Like, and that comes from somebody that knows what he's doing, right? Like,
Hmm.
I'm comfortable enough. I could go start, something else, and I'm okay for a little bit. But like, a lot of these people, they get laid off. They've been living paycheck to paycheck. They
Hmm.
don't know how to start a business. Like, it takes and by the way, building a product on top of this service is one thing, right? If you want to start a service, you can at least start bringing in money. A video game,
It's
3
a product.
years, 5
Yeah.
years until you're seeing any money.
Hmm.
And that's a big if. by the way. Like, that's so the hard part is this is why I almost said, like, it would be so awesome if somebody and they probably exist, but, like, somebody that has capital, so there's, some investment arms of somebody, like, there's some talented people out there that can make some great games if they just had some capital, and I hope that exists somewhere and that's happening, but, like, I don't know, like, that to me is
Well, and I mean, I think there will be capital. Like we started the conversation with the talk of the stock market.
oh, yeah.
I mean, it's doing this and it's going sideways and it's going down, it's going up, man. It's crazy. Like I have my app to set to ping me when something on my watch list goes up or down 5%.
Mhm.
I'm getting a lot of notifications every day. That's not the sign of a healthy market, right? Because
No.
people don't know where to put their capital. There's not a lack of liquidity in the market.
Well, because real estate is non I know people think unless you have insane money, real estate market is terrible right now.
Yeah.
Everyone says don't invest in real estate. Everyone's saying AI right now. There's so much investment in AI tools, but I think
Sorry. It's up there. We got to see the gains. It's
there's nothing coming from it. It's have you seen that graph where it's like they're all invested in each other?
Yeah, it's
In
like I give you $20 to slap me in the face, and then you give me $20 to slap you in the face, and we raised the GDP by $40.
and it is ripe to burst. And so much there's so much investment. So real estate non-existent. All right, like
AI
the
is already maxed out.
private equity majority, I think 75% of private equity has been going into AI, and that's like
It's just
so many
maxed.
companies.
Yeah.
That is
Uh-huh.
teetering on a mountain right now.
Right.
And
1999.
yeah,
Yeah.
1999 dot-com bubble, 100%. We're about to see it again. And then you have the stock market, which is just volatile because so much of it is dependent on all these big tech innovations in
Mhm.
AI. So like everything is
Yeah.
volatile right now. And the sad reality is when you have these downturns, you then get entrepreneurs, right? Like that's the cycle. When the most entrepreneurs are born during recessions.
Oh, because it's like rubber meets the road. Like I got to make something work.
Rubber meets the road. The industry, the whatever industry, most industries are changing, right? Like things are shifting. And with shifts come opportunity.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so that
That's good.
it's just how it goes, right? That most entrepreneurs rise like during those times.
Mhm.
And so I think to me, we're gonna see a bunch of studios. I think I've already kind of made that statement, but like, what does the layoffs mean? What does all this AI mean? I think we're just gonna see a bunch of game studios, and I think especially with Steam's announcement with their hardware,
Uh-huh.
there's a bunch of things that are gonna happen, I'm excited, right? Like, and I say that coming from like it sucks, by the way. Like, it sucks getting laid off.
Yeah.
Like,
Really
it's
does.
it
Yeah.
really does, and it's my first time ever, and that's like I was talking to you earlier about it because it's like I've never been laid off before. I've always I've worked at all sorts of places. I've built my own businesses. It's like it's never happened,
Yeah.
and
It
I
makes
can't,
you feel like crap.
makes you feel like crap,
Yeah.
and so I empathize. But like the positive as I do think there's gonna be some great games that come out of
I do
this.
think so too. And it's like I'm excited to see those people that are like that that say, you know what, like I have talent, like that they come out of that and you feel like garbage. And I think the worst part about getting laid off is it makes you question your self worth.
Mhm.
Like you really just are like, man, like I guess I wasn't blank enough, like I wasn't smart enough, wasn't fast enough, wasn't good enough, it wasn't,
Whatever it
whatever.
is, yeah.
Yeah. But it's like I want the people that I want those out there that are getting, is suffering from these layoffs it's like, believe in yourself a little bit. So many of you have like these great creative sparks that unfortunately skip this generation. My s- Uh, but you guys have something special there. And I think that instead of, I see many artists get really upset with any mention of AI and art.
Mhm.
And it's like, I understand that, but you're you cannot stop the tide.
Yeah, you're
Like, you
fighting the
can't
rising tide.
you
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 can't.
can't do it. So, but, like, instead, see how you can, instead of trying to stand in front of the stampede and stick your hands out and stop it, see if you can ride the horse, you know?
Mhm.
Like, can you steer it? Can you grab it and make it work for your benefit? Like, and I think the indie developers have this opportunity right now, or people that get laid off, to become indie developers. And because they're so small and mobile, they will learn how to use AI tools faster
Yeah.
than any of those big companies. They will do it more efficiently, and then their output can exceed. Like, they'll, because there's a disruption in the market,
Mhm.
you have this opportunity to take advantage of that where there's an inefficiency. Say people aren't expecting an indie developer to produce this high quality game with these new tools yet.
Yeah.
Eventually, this will be what we all expect, and it won't be that great,
And
right?
that's how it goes, right? Like the internet, it becomes normal, right? You
It
use the
becomes normal.
internet, you use technology to create art, right? Like
Yeah,
people hated that. There's so many people. Art used to be something that you created that was with the
yeah,
hand, and then it migrated
yeah.
and it migrates.
There's people. What was it? The editors of old,
Mhm.
that they're like, editing is a skill with the blade,
Oh
and the
yeah,
glue, and like, and then you get the digital editing where you can just slap everything around, and they felt like their art was lost. But that didn't stop people from creating great edits. The people that learned how to use the tool became the new kings.
yeah, yeah. And so this is the new tool. I think it's a little uncertain how to use it in a lot of ways. I
Right.
think it's so
There's a learning curve to it for sure.
oh, and it's a learning curve, and partially you go, it's effort, it's hard, right? Like
Yeah.
staying up to date. What's crazy, you hit your 30s, and I'm like,
I know, like, I threw out my lower back. Like, I'm just getting old.
like it becomes harder, and
Yeah.
partially, and I say that it doesn't actually get harder. I think it's you get more stuck in your
Complacent.
ways, right? You
Yeah.
get complacent because you just want to. You
Do
already
what
know
you
how to
know.
do this, and it's effort and time, right? Where like when I was younger, I could sit there, I'd rip apart a keyboard, I'd rip apart a computer, I'd rip apart like because I just
Because,
had
like,
oodles of time.
everything was hard. Like, you think back to, like, your undergraduate days, right?
Yeah.
It's like you didn't know anything.
No,
It's
and it was
like
all hard.
econ was hard, English was hard, physics was hard, math was hard.
Now I'm like, "Oh, put me back. I'll, like"
Yeah, I know, right? But you get to that, like you said, you get to that level where the brain has established certain pathways, and it requires, it's low effort. Like, it's literally
Mhm.
low effort. It doesn't require many calories. It doesn't require a lot of, like, mental focus to learn new things, or to it does require mental focus to learn new things. And so you try to avoid that, right? So
Yeah.
you have to avoid the complacency. But, beyond the because this is a two-part podcast, right?
Mhm.
We talk the art, but we also talk the business, right?
Right.
What I want to see is, okay, I think there's excess liquidity. There are people taking liquidity out at the top of the AI market. I would like to see some of that liquidity, which is invested in video game developers, as sort of like a kind of side route, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well,
To
investments, right? It's you have to diversify your portfolio,
Mhm.
like, and this is I there's and I've talked to so many people about this. I'm like, the indie game industry is an untapped market, right? Like, if you invested, let's say, a couple million, if and I don't have, of course, that kind of money, but, like,
I'll go
if
get it.
yeah, I'll go get it. But, like, if let's say you have a ton of excess capital, right? Let's say you have a lot of these guys, I know some people, they have $1 billion fund. Imagine if you took 20 million of that and put that into some indie games. And let's say you
Mhm.
put
Sprinkle it around a few studios.
sprinkle it around a few studios. And I'm talking like maybe even just 100,000. You could have a bunch of studios,
Mhm.
small little studios. One of those is going to be a banger,
Yeah,
and they can be a banger. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, and so it has a high failure rate on like, I mean, I think 10%, as they say, 90% of companies fail, startups fail. I think
Mhm.
like 97, 98% of video games fail, right?
Yeah,
Like it's a high failure rate,
it's true.
but
But,
the
uh
hits hit.
well, and it's also like, you don't have to stop, right? I mean, like the Lethal Company guy, he just made games, dude. Like he just pumped out what the Lethal Company was like his fourth or fifth game.
And he started, I think he's the one that started in Roblox, right? Like he was making games in some of these easier spots and almost kind of figuring out like, and he was monetizing, he was making money in a smaller amounts, but
Mm,
like he was figuring out gameplay loops. And that's its own conversation. I've been really fascinated by that, but like figuring out gameplay loops that are addicting and
mhm.
not in a bad way, addicting in the sense just like great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's
fun.
the fun,
They're
right?
fun. You can get to finding that fun, those fun gameplay loops in Roblox or some of these Fortnite or whatever it is, and then go create a much higher version. I mean, it's the old argument of the MOBA. Where did the MOBA games come from? They came from a custom game in Warcraft 3. So
Right.
like all this stems from like I think the ability to iterate, the ability to get to market, and I would love to see more money get put into these indie
Yeah.
studios
I
that are I think
I
rising.
I think so too, and it's like, like, people are basically maxed out on how much money they're willing to put into the primary contributors to the AI.
Mhm.
So, like, NVIDIA, people are investing in companies that invest in OpenAI as, like, kind of representatives.
Yeah.
So people invest in Microsoft, they'll invest in, Google and stuff like that. NVIDIA being the large one that just, like, kinda carries it, or Oracle as well.
Yeah.
So building like the data centers. But I think we're seeing profit taking, right? So when people start doing profit taking, so Warren Buffett's done it, Peter Thiel's
Right.
things is sold. It's not like a ton, it's like 100 million, but like, um, when they start
I hear
pulling
that
out,
and I'm like, "Oh, sounds like a lot," but yeah.
yes, yeah,
It's
for, I mean,
relative.
for an individual,
Yes.
but so like when people like they're taking that money out, and it's like I think developers, indie developers in particular, can be a way to invest in AI without directly investing in AI. So instead of
Mm.
investing in the
Mm.
the place that is already saturated, you can invest in a industry that will has the potential to benefit a lot from AI tools.
100%. Yes, that is yes, because you can make games with a small team with a like how it's more like how these tools are impacting all these industries and predicting,
Yeah,
what the outcomes from that. And I really we're in video games so often, so much. I study the industry so much. So to me it almost seems obvious, but yeah, for somebody outside of it,
it's true.
they
And,
don't
and
know.
I, a lot of these institutional investors and hedge funds and stuff, um, I just don't think they like video games is it's a very strange space. It's like investing in movies. You just like don't do it,
Well,
you know?
most and I'll use my own example. I had raised money in the past for my first company. I went back to some of the investors who I knew because they had always said, "Hey, your next company, just come talk to us, right? We could help you raise money." And my idea is I wanted to help. By the way, a lot of this stems from I wanted to help raise a fund for indie developers. That was one of my ideas, and I said I'd love to do this. And I went back to him, and he just said, I said, "Hey, I don't know the industry at all, right? So I don't invest in that."
Mhm.
They invest in their verticals. That
Yeah.
that's the thing that people don't a lot of times don't understand is like most investments, it's like they do B2B SaaS or they do consumer products or they do, it's just they pick and then they hyper focus on that because they get to know it. And so then they
Yeah.
can be able to read the companies that are going to be
Mhm.
more or less successful, where it's like they're not just throwing money at random things and praying that it works, right? There's
Yeah.
there's there's a rhyme and reason. But I think that's the problem is there's none of that. There's no legitimate private equity or VC money
Mhm.
that is in this space.
What was that podcast that you turned me on to? The,
Um, oh, I shouldn't have forgotten it.
those guys. So they're like one of them is, they both work for VCs that
Yeah,
invest in video games.
Robbins, Blake Robbins. I just blanked on the name. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, you find that. But so there is some, but I definitely think that there's room for
Gamecraft.
Gamecraft. Yes. Great podcast, by the
Great
way.
podcast.
Recommend you guys check it out. They go really in depth. The guys have a lot of experience, and they invest in institutionally invest in video games.
Hmm.
um, and video game developers, and so they peel back kind of a lot of the secrets of the industry. But it's it's interesting to hear it from like that point of view. So there are people and companies that do it. I'm just saying I think that there is so much liquidity where people with the stock market doing this, it's doing that, it's having 10-point swings every day because people have no idea what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interest rates aren't like that great, you know. So it's like I'm not going to get 3%. So it's like they're not high enough to justify me pulling my money out, and then I don't know where else to put it. I'll just
Because
throw it
real
into
estate, you can't. Yeah, there's
yeah.
just so many other places. It's just not.
Uh,
It's not a
I just
smart to put it there now.
right. It was like during the pandemic, like the pandemic going down, you'd have Apple reporting like a loss, like a lower than expected earnings, and their stock price would shoot up. And I was like, pulling my hair out because like, my calls or my puts were all shot. But but
Dude, you
uh
can't be doing that day trading, buddy.
yeah, no, yeah.
It's a
That's what
dangerous game. But yeah.
so like but I was trying to figure out what's going on and through some research, it's like, well, people are investing in Apple because they didn't have they had no idea where else to put their money, and Apple felt like the safe bet.
Oh,
It
for
was
sure.
like the
They took a
equivalent.
downturn. They knew they're going to come back up. So
Yeah, there was like it's like, okay, Apple's not going anywhere. Like they have one of the most like solid customer like bases in the world. And so I mean, it was like people were buying Apple like they would buy a US bond. And so it's like there's people don't know what to do with their money right now because the top of the market is just saturated.
well,
So
and the
I'd like to
wealthy have so much excess capital. I think we don't
well,
sit in that. We're burning in a lot of ways. Like a lot of the middle class is being lost because what 80,000. Used to say 70, 80,000. You could be happy on that. It's like in the past 10
probably
years,
120 at this point.
that's changed, right? Like
Yeah.
that's and so the amount of money that's gone up and they now have it in excess, right? And so
Hmm.
they're buying up, and that's what again, it all shows the signs of why what's happening. So all I think the point being made is just there's excess capital. They they have it in pretty non-risky assets. This is a riskier asset. This is a riskier buy-in, right? Like video games. And I think esports was an example. So many people pumped money into esports back in the
The
uh
heyday. Yeah.
2016 to 2020, and there's so much, but it's like they predicted that it was going to be this next big thing. But like video games are going nowhere and they're increasing. Like this is a stable market.
But it's a good point that you're saying that the people who have the capital are not video gamers.
They're not video gamers.
They
And I
don't know it. I mean, they're gonna be, boomers, lack of a better term, but like they're
major
gonna
yeah,
be gonna be
they're going to
people
be,
within their 50s, 60s
and
that
they don't know this market.
they don't know it, right? It's super rare. So it's like what I would like to see if we're gonna like kind of wrap all this up, it's like I don't think the disruptions are gonna stop. I'd like to see I'm excited to see the people that get thrown out in the cold rise up and take
Mhm.
advantage of these AI tools to make uh, do more with less
Yeah.
and make a lot of great indie games. I'd like to see some of the capital, maybe some of the young venture capitalists out there that may be more familiar with this, that they can start to redirect some liquidity into this area as a secondary form of investment in AI.
You're like
Uh,
5% of your fund,
yeah,
right? Something
yeah.
the more
I mean,
riskier part.
exactly. That way, if the AI takes off, it's not like you have to pull out of AI and invest in oil. I mean,
Mhm.
that's like totally different. Like you
It's adjacent. It's still
it's
adjacent.
adjacent. Yeah, exactly. So it's like you're going to hedge your bets. You're not going to fall as much, but you can still succeed and rise that tide. And then,
Yeah.
kind of, I suppose, in that same vein, I'd like to see people that, young entrepreneurs, since there are going to be a lot of developers laid off, like you said, they might not know how to start a company.
Mhm.
I'd like to
I'd
see a
love
lot of,
to help that. That's always
I know, like, I'd like
like
to see it like that those connections starting to be made. I don't know if the
I know.
best place is like colleges. I don't know if it's going indie, but I'd like to see those
It just
people
doesn't
that
work. I've learned that. I've done YouTube content, and a lot of it's impersonal. I mean, I make videos, they're scripted. It's no duh. Like it's partially why I want to do a podcast. But like I tried to help indie developers for a year, and almost all of them, they're just they sit in uh, that spot of wannabe.
Mhm.
90-95% majority of them are just like, and that's not a bad thing, but just like there's such a separation between I want to make a game and like making a game and like making a game. Like
Like,
there's
yeah, like the Guillermo version,
the
right? Like,
Guillermo version, like the to build a team, to actually manage people, to manage money, all the complexity, right? Like it is you're building a business. It's always what I say. Like that is so hard. Your product is just a part of your business, and people cannot process that. And that's what I've learned is just like there's such a small group of people like that I could actually help. I can be, a voice or whatever it is, and help and help people at least learn the basics, and that's fine. But like to actually get to that level, it's so
yeah.
it's
I
so
mean,
small,
and you need partnerships,
and you
like
need
the personal
partnerships.
partnerships. So that's what I guess maybe to be more explicit is I'd like to see those partnerships happen. I
Hmm.
don't know if the best place for that is I don't know where that would be. I'd like to see maybe
Yeah,
some
I see what you're saying. College campuses, or yeah,
college campuses,
where's
maybe
this beginning? Because that's where a lot
yeah.
of my entrepreneurship journey started. I started my company
I
from
guess
school, right?
Gamescom or like the game dev conferences, like I don't know, like trying to connect with people there. I don't know where the best place is to put those people together, but I mean the Guillermo had it was Guillermo, his the Unreal guy, can't remember his name right
I
now,
don't remember.
but then the third guy was the business dude.
Hmm.
And he was pivotal in understanding when to go. First of all, he raised temporary money before
Yeah,
Kepler.
it's all the steps. It's people. You could
Yeah,
make the best game. You could be making it. And if you run out of money, it's gone. Right? Like there's
it is.
it.
Right. You needed all three of those guys.
Hmm.
You needed all of them. They had to be there. And oftentimes you only end up with two. You either have the artist, but you don't have a technical person.
Hmm.
You have
Or
the
you have the
artist,
artist, the technical, and they don't have
but
the
a
business.
businessman. You need the trio. So it's
Yeah.
I'd love to facilitate that somehow. I can't do anything. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say I can't, but I don't know how. But
And it's one of those. I tried to facilitate it, and I didn't do the best job. Let's make sure that's clear. But like,
yeah,
it's it's hard. It's hard to know who is serious and who's not. Maybe that's a good way to put it.
hmm
And it's when you if I just had tons of money, I think I'd love to just dedicate to this, right? Just helping people. But it's like the
trying to,
best social. I'll always say this: social missions don't work if there's not economic value. I learned this from my first company. I was trying to help a group of people, and sadly, there was it was a my first company was to help, right? You know this, but like to help students that were deaf,
yeah,
and I was very passionate, really cared. Guess what? Not a lot of economic value in helping that group of
take
people,
off.
and it
Yeah, the
doesn't
best.
take off.
No, like the only way to sustainably help people is if there's profit that's made.
Some economic value, and so I,
Yeah,
I I wish businesses were more focused on the duality of like, yeah, making the economy better, making money, but also like bettering society. I think that is the missing piece that people always say. Capitalism. Like, I think there's good capitalism. Like
yeah,
I feel like we used to be more like that, and that's its own conversation. But all this being said, layoffs not good, but I am excited for what's about to happen. I do
yeah.
think we're going to see some incredible games come out of this, and I think we've been seeing incredible games coming out of
hmm
this. Where I was kind of saying in 2022, dude, I was not thrilled with what was coming out. Right, I was not
Yeah,
impressed. And over the past few years, I've eaten those words. The games that are coming out have just blown me away over and over.
yeah.
So, so I think we're going to see a lot of success.
That's
Um,
good.
so, and any last thoughts?
No, I mean, to anybody who's been laid off, it's a tough run, but to keep your chin up, there's hope out there. So
Yeah, you'll make it happen. Like I said, I empathize. I've never.
yeah, with your resident, PhD student and unemployed hobo here.
Good hell. Well,
All
thanks
right.
everyone for listening. See you guys next week.